because, or producing art or whatever, because you're obviously not going to produce something really long down the line that you're going to want to release. So start with the end in mind, and you should do that on daily scale as well as weekly and monthly and even longer term for the entire project, obviously. Sit down at the start of the day, think about, okay, what do I want to accomplish today? You don't have to write a list. I write a list because I deal with a lot of people and a lot of incoming stuff. But you might be, a one-man team, holed up in, a bedroom somewhere. You don't have to write a list, but for a day or a week, but maybe a month, maybe for the entire project, you need a list of what you're going to do, obviously. And when you're deciding what to do, you should have your goals there, and you should compare it against your goals and make sure okay, is this going to get me close to my goal? And you should do that all the time. You should be always examining that. And with that, you should make an estimate. If you're like working full time or studying or whatever, and you're spending time part time working on things, estimate how long it's going to take. You don't have to say, okay, in 2 weeks I'm going to have a fully fledged game engine. But you can say, okay, in 20 hours I'm going to have a fully fledged game engine. So and then keep track of that. And then once you've reached that goal, look back and take a look. How did I go? Did this estimate meet up? Why didn't it meet up? I fucked around and deleted half my code and started. Or why did I do that? So, and you keep looking back and finding the roots of your problems. So, in a review, what we try and do is we have something called 5 whys. Here you go, okay, so we were late. Why were we late? Oh, I deleted code. Yeah, I lost it. I lost all my code. Why was that? Oh, the hard drive crashed. Okay. Why? Or, so why did you lose your code? Why wasn't... why wasn't it checked in, for example? I forgot to check in. Why? Oh, I was, being hassled, didn't check in. So you step back and go through about 5 whys. Why? We should put together an example before coming up here. But
you just retrace your steps to work out what.
Yeah, you generally when you have a problem, you go, why was that? Oh, I deleted the code, and that's it. You don't go back any further and see, well, you don't find the root of the cause, and that's what that's about. So reviewing and debriefing after reaching a goal or not reaching a goal is really important, and it allows you to, you and the people you're working with to learn and to examine where am I going, am I getting better? So, questions? Right. So that's planning. I don't want to do too much on that because people generally have their own ways of going about things. And does anyone want to share theirs on planning?
I just wanted to share my experience that I'm going through at the moment because I'm kind of making a volunteer project, making a prototype demo for a piece of freeware, and I'm finding that making design documents and production plans, that because of the nature of freeware and the fact that the people on the team are volunteers, you're kind of at the mercy of what's going on in their life, and you can get a volunteer who's dedicated to your project, and you can get another volunteer who just basically brushes it off as soon as anything comes up. Taking on this methodology, how could you improve that kind of volunteer projects?
Volunteer projects, wow, they're really difficult. There's a lot of stuff on the net for open source, which is volunteer. And one of the things which I'll talk about in this section, leadership, will deal with that, and this applies very broadly. This section, a lot of indie teams, you don't have a formal boss, you don't have formal working hours, you don't have any formal arrangements. No one's in charge. So this will talk about that kind of thing, and it's mainly about building trust. So so leadership. I'm, as I said, a leader of about 5 people.
Yeah. 64.
Someone quit.
It's actually only 4. It's alright, it's been a bit fluid lately. Yeah, and I don't consider myself a boss. I do have kicked people's asses. What's really important when you're developing a team is to have something I've actually talked about here, would have been good. Is having some sort of understanding, I guess. I talk about that in the delegation section. Is making sure that people understand their roles and responsibilities, and outlining what the discipline will be. We'll sit down and talk about things. And it's one thing I forgot to mention in the debrief is not pointing fingers. You're not saying that guy fucked it up. You're not blaming. You're trying to find how to fix the problem, not who was the problem. Unless there was someone who was obviously the problem. Okay. So you're not the boss. You can take lead, but you can't be the boss. And I'm not the best of the team, of my team. I'm not the best programmer. I'm not the best artist. I'm not the best of many things. I'm a good generalist personally, which is why I think my boss chose me. I'm still trying to work that out. Because there's people that have got 10, 15 years industry experience on me, and that was really difficult for me starting out being a boss of, a leader of people with a lot more industry knowledge than me.
Would you say that's actually a useful thing though? Because I find myself to be a bit of a generalist as well, and it means that I know I'm never going to excel at any one of those things to be the guy who's got 15 years programming experience, but I think that I'm good at being able to talk between them and tell the artist, well, the programmer can't use that art because of this, you need to fix that, that sort of thing. Do you think that's actually useful in that case?
Yeah, well, I have a fairly decently broad understanding of most topics that we have to deal with. So, and I think the reason I'm a boss is the leader is that I'm a fairly decent communicator. So I think that's why. So yeah, so I'm not the best at anything, and I ask my staff all the time, how should this be done? We've got this problem, how should it be done? Okay. That's how things get done in our office anyway. And I certainly don't make my ideas more valid. In a meeting when we're hammering something out, I certainly don't get any precedence over anyone else. I can't use my power to, for example, make my ideas more valid, because then I'll just piss people off. As I was saying earlier, ideas are a dime a dozen. So I don't think I've used my power, and I think that's really important, because you're just gonna get people's backs up, and especially if you're dealing with someone who knows a lot more than in a certain area than you, then you're definitely going to get them pissed off at you, and even if they go and do your idea, they might